Good afternoon, my friends. Today we're going to go over a comprehensive overview of Carus Chemical violations, air quality impact, and the IEPA failures. 10/23/2024 presents the truth behind Carus Chemical and the lack of the oversight. JMH Productions. Part V of Carus Chemical's air permit, critical violations. Part V of Carus Chemical's air permit outlines strict requirements for controlling the air emissions, implementing monitoring systems, and preventing harmful pollutants from contaminating the environment. The section is key to ensuring compliance with the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act, as air pollutants often settle in water and soil, leading to broader contamination. Lack of continuous emissions monitoring, CEMS. Under Part V of the permit, Carus is required to install continuous emissions monitoring systems to measure and control hazardous emissions like lead, mercury, manganese, and other metals. These systems ensure that the company stays within the legal limits for air pollution and allow for real-time tracking of emissions. Violations. Carus has not installed a CEMS despite this requirement being in place for years, 2013 to be exact. Without these systems, there is no way to accurately track or control the release of harmful pollutants. Missing a Fugitive Particulate Plan response plan. Another key requirement under Part V is a Fugitive Particulate Response Plan, which ensures that dust and particulate matter, often containing dangerous metals, are controlled to prevent them from escaping into the air and settling in nearby soil and water. Violations. Carus has not updated or maintained its Fugitive Particulate Response Plan since 2013. Without this plan, there has been uncontrolled releases of particulates, leading to contamination of the environment around LaSalle. Particulates from operations have likely contributed to elevations of heavy metals like lead and manganese in the air and the water. This was found in a 2019 compliance report, people. This is not made up. Key inspections and violations 2019 to 2013. Findings. The inspection conducted in 2019 revealed multiple violations of Carus air permit, including failures to control emissions and comply with air quality standards. The IEPA identified these issues but did not take adequate steps to enforce the corrective actions found in 2019 compliance air permit. Again, in that permit, it identified Carus did not install the required monitoring systems to address the emission control failures. 2020 inspection, continued noncompliance. Findings. A follow-up inspection in 2020 confirmed that Carus had not addressed the violations from the previous year. The company continued to operate without necessary emissions control or compliance with its air permit. Outcome. Despite this ongoing non-compliance, the IEPA did not impose strict penalties or require Carus to halt operations to rectify the violations. The January 2023 fire and its aftermath. Contaminants released. Airborne pollutants include lead, manganese, and mercury, which spread to nearby areas and were detected in furnace filters and soil samples taken after the fire. Soil and water testing, February to March 2023. Findings. Post-fire testing revealed that both soil and water runoff near Carus facility were contaminated with dangerous levels of metals. Water testing showed lead at 0.07 milligram per liter, far exceeding the Class 1 ground standard of 0.000 or 0.0075 milligram per liter, putting the local water supply at violation of the Clean Water Act. This contamination is a direct violation of the Clean Water Act, as the pollutants found in water runoff are likely to be both the fire and ongoing emissions. Part V in the Clean Water Act violations. IEPA's inadequate enforcement. May 2023 notice L 2023-0012132. That's the file number. Findings. The EPA issued a violation notice in May of 2023, citing Carus for failure to comply with air and water quality standards both under both its permit and the Clean Water Act. The notice pointed to the company's ongoing violations related to emissions control and water contamination found in violation number 2023 la-di-da-di-da. Outcome. Despite this notice, the IEPA did not enforce strict corrective actions, allowing Carus to continue to operate without addressing the critical issues outlined in Part V of its air permit. In July of 2023, follow-up violation notice. Findings. A second notice in July 2023 reiterated the same concerns, yet Carus still not implement the necessary monitoring systems or update its Fugitive Particulate Plan. The IEPA enforcement efforts remain minimal. Sorry about that. Health and environment consequences of violations, human health risks. The contamination caused by Carus emissions, particularly lead, mercury, and manganese, pose serious health risks to the Salle residents. Lead exposure, especially in children, can cause development delays, cognitive impairments, and behavior issues. Mercury and manganese can cause neurological and respiratory problems. Environment damage. Elevated levels of contaminants in the soil and the water around Carus facility have caused significant environmental degradation. Lead, manganese, and other metals persist in the environment, affecting both local wildlife and long-term health of the ecosystem. Conclusion. The critical need for enforcement of Part V of the permit. The failure of the IEPA to enforce Part V of the Carus Chemical Air Permit and the company's ongoing violations of the Clean Water Act have resulted in several pollution and health risks for the LaSalle community. The absence of a fugitive particulate response plan and a lack of continuous emission monitoring systems have allowed dangerous pollutants to go unchecked for over a decade. We're going to go ahead and we're going to end this one here, and we'll go on because there's more to get into, people. So that's your lesson for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from this, and I hope we can look to a brighter future. More people need to get involved. More people need to stand up. It's just a fact. That's facts of life, people. You can't sit back and do nothing. Get up off your ass and do something. I'm showing you the facts. Now it's your turn to take the information and run with it. Thank you for joining me. My name again is Jamie Hicks.